I was terrified because I thought I was going to be playing my cello in front of a film crew at the BBC. This is what I've been told. I was going to record a play about a famous cellist called Beatrice Harrison that had already been done as a radio play, but I was told they wanted to do it with me. And because they'd heard I played the cello, there was a promotion going on. This is how they set me up. There was a promotion going on that week and they wanted to film me playing the cello. So I was in abject terror and I'd been practicing like mad, praying I would be able to do it because it is nerve-wracking playing. What happened was there were 9 camera. It was a big sort of group of people filming. I mean, and I wasn't expecting that as well, so it made me even more nervous. But I was just thinking, I'd got through it. I did it about 4 times. And I was thinking, I've done it. My arm hasn't, the bowing arm hasn't wobbled, didn't fall off the chair, and I haven't played out of tune. I was thinking I'd sort of done it and was feeling happy about that when somebody tapped my shoulder. And I sort of went like this, and it was Michael Aspel. And behind him were the cast of Playing the Field, which was the television series I'd done 5 series of. And they were all going like this, and I thought I was hallucinating. It was such a shock, and because I was so concentrating on playing, I thought I've lost it, actually. I've tipped over. Or I'm just having a dream, and I've got delusions of grandeur. It's Michael Aspel. This is your, and I was absolutely convinced it couldn't be that. So I really thought I had got, and it actually shows in my face. And then they said, well, we'll see you later, and they all applauded and left. And I said to Pauline, I said, shall we get on with the play? She said, we're not doing the play. I mean, this is your life. And I was furious. I was really annoyed because I'd done so much work. And I said, what do you mean we're not doing the play? And she said, no, I'm sorry, but we're not. This was to get you to play. So I sort of couldn't take it in. I just couldn't take it in. It was really, really a massive shock. And then the producer of this, you'll have Sue, I think it was, which was so nice. She said, I'm going to take you for a cup of tea. I thought she was going to give me an injection. She said, I'm going to take you for a cup of tea. Don't worry about anything. Because the next stage, after I got over the shock and say, is you wonder who's coming on. And so from once I started to believe it, I thought, but wait a minute. Who will they bring on to this programme? So I said to her, look, I'm a bit worried now. And she said, this is a celebration of your life. We're not out to get you. She was just so lovely. Then I began to get quite excited about it, and I was trying to remember what happened in the music and everything. I was sort of thinking, what's going to happen? And by then I was realising there must be people here in the building, friends and family and things. So I was kind of thinking, and I had that. And then they took me to the dressing room, and there was this bag that Zoe had delivered with a couple of alternative things for me to wear. And they made me out, and I was very excited by then, and a little bit apprehensive. They said, was it's time? And they were being lovely to me, they said, come on, it's this way. And it was like that, the doors opened, and I will never forget that, because almost the entire family, everybody was there, nieces and nephews, and they were all just sitting there, and that completely did my head in. And then I looked the other side, and then there was all the mates. The other side, I mean, it was just fantastic. I was kind of, you say, it wasn't even flattered. It was just, I thought, they've bothered to do that for me. They've got all my family there, paid for them to come and stay. And I mean, it was just amazing to see that. I think that was probably the peak, really, was that. And I just rushed about screaming. The thing that was missing for me, which actually was quite a massive thing, was the theatre people. Because of course, being a television programme, they weren't interested. It was noticeable to me that they weren't. I thought, I kept waiting for them to come on, and they didn't. And I was kind of clocking that. I thought, well, why isn't Barry Winter there, and why isn't so-and-so there? Directors and people, theatre directors and people I knew. I was looking at the photos last night, and it completely brought it back. And then there's the realisation that people had died, of course, and that was rather sad. But I'm I'll always mourn them anyway, and I just mourn them in a good way. It just reminded me again. And there's a beautiful photograph of my mother in there, which is an absolute knockout. And she walked away with the show, actually. She was brilliant. They filmed her and she'd got this berry and everything on. She was just... And everybody in the studio just went... There was a big silence when she said, oh, I don't think I can think of anything else to say. She said it was so sweet, And I was just... That's when I was completely overwhelmed. But actually, I don't look it. It's quite extraordinary. I was so overwhelmed because she was such an extraordinary person. And it was so wonderful to see her, and I knew what it must have meant when they filmed her. She's so eccentric. And I just sort of stared at her. It was just weird. It was the most extraordinary experience. I think one of the most extraordinary experiences I've ever had.